Everyone wants to understand what makes a star last. Not trend for a season, not dominate a few headlines, but remain standing when the noise thins out and the spotlight moves on. The truth is, most people only notice success when it is loud. They recognize applause, numbers, visibility. What they rarely see is the quiet moment before all of that begins. The pause before a live stage lights up. The stillness on a film set before the camera rolls. That is where the real difference starts. Because fame can be borrowed, but foundation cannot. And in today's entertainment industry, audiences are slowly realizing something unsettling, yet hopeful at the same time. Popularity may open the door, but only substance decides who stays inside. This is not a story about overnight success. It is a story about endurance. About why some names fade as quickly as they rise, while others continue to carry weight long after trends shift. And once you see it, you can never unsee it again. Inside the industry, there is a quiet conversation that rarely reaches the headlines. It happens backstage, on sets, in rehearsal rooms where no cameras are allowed. It is not about who is trending this week or whose name dominates the algorithm. It is about reliability, about presence, about whether someone can be trusted when there is no safety net of hype. This is where the idea of a top star begins to change. The old definition relied on exposure and momentum. The new one relies on something far less visible, but far more demanding: discipline repeated over time. There is a pattern professionals notice quickly. Some performers arrive early, not because they are told to, but because they feel uneasy arriving late. Some rehearse not until they get it right, but until they cannot get it wrong. Some adjust details that the audience may never consciously notice, yet would instinctively feel if they were missing. These habits do not generate headlines. They generate trust. Directors stop needing backup plans. Production teams breathe easier. Co-stars feel supported rather than overshadowed. Over time, this invisible reputation becomes more powerful than any trending list. Take performance itself. Many assume that holding attention requires constant intensity. In reality, it often requires restraint. Knowing when to pull back, knowing when silence speaks louder than expression. The ability to remain grounded under pressure is not accidental. It is built through repetition, reflection, and an understanding that performance is not about proving something, but about serving something larger than oneself. This mindset separates those who chase moments from those who build careers. Film sets offer another revealing contrast. Some actors rely heavily on direction, waiting to be told where to stand, how to move, when to react. Others arrive having already internalized the character's physicality, emotional rhythm, and limitations. They do not overreach. They do not force emotion. They allow it to emerge naturally within the frame. This kind of control often goes unnoticed by casual viewers, but it never escapes the attention of experienced professionals. It shortens takes. It sharpens scenes. It elevates the entire production. When seasoned figures in the industry speak positively, they choose their words carefully. Genuine recognition rarely sounds dramatic. It focuses on consistency, awareness, and work ethic rather than spectacle. Praise of this kind carries weight precisely because it cannot be manufactured. It reflects observation over time, not a single moment of success. And once earned, it quietly follows an artist from project to project. What makes this shift particularly compelling is the role of the audience. Viewers are no longer passive recipients of what is promoted to them. They are learning to distinguish between visibility and value, between noise and presence, between excitement that burns quickly and admiration that grows slowly. This does not happen overnight. It happens through repeated experiences of disappointment and surprise. When expectations built on hype collapse, and performances built on preparation endure, the lesson becomes clear. There is also a deeper emotional layer at work. Watching someone improve steadily, without shortcuts, creates a sense of trust. It reassures audiences that effort still matters, that growth is possible without spectacle, that excellence does not require constant validation. In a world dominated by instant reactions, this kind of narrative feels grounding. It offers relief rather than stimulation. And relief, paradoxically, is what keeps people coming back. Beyond the screen, responsibility begins to take shape. Popularity, when guided carefully, becomes influence. Influence, when handled thoughtfully, becomes impact. Some artists understand this instinctively. They do not separate their public image from their personal values. They allow consistency to speak for them. Over time, this alignment creates a bond with audiences that is not dependent on constant output. It is sustained by trust. This is why discussions around figures like Wang Yibo resonate beyond fandom. He represents a broader question rather than a singular answer. What happens when an artist chooses patience over noise? When they invest in craft instead of conflict? When they allow time rather than trend cycles to define their trajectory? The response from audiences suggests that many are ready for this shift. They may not articulate it clearly, but they recognize it instinctively. The industry itself is adapting. Casting decisions increasingly prioritize reliability over visibility. Long-term projects favor artists who can maintain stability under pressure. Collaborations lean towards those who elevate the room rather than dominate it. This quiet recalibration signals something important. The future does not belong to the loudest voices, but to the most grounded ones. Ultimately, this story is not just about entertainment. It mirrors something universal. Careers, relationships, personal growth all follow a similar logic. Short bursts of attention feel rewarding, but they rarely last. What lasts is what is built patiently, reinforced daily, and respected consistently. The audience senses this truth, even when it is not spoken directly. And when they find it reflected in an artist, they respond with loyalty rather than excitement alone. As the noise continues to rise and fall, the artists who endure will not be those who chase every spotlight, but those who understand when to stand still, those who respect their craft enough to let it speak quietly, those who trust time to do what hype never can. And perhaps that is why stories like this continue to spread, not because they shock, but because they reassure. Not because they promise instant success, but because they remind us that substance still matters. If this perspective resonated with you, and if you value stories that look beyond the surface of fame to the deeper forces shaping today's entertainment world, we invite you to stay connected. Star Watch Now is a place where we slow things down, look closer, and explore what truly lasts in an industry built on change. Thank you for spending your time with us today. If you enjoyed this story, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications so you don't miss future uploads. Your support allows us to continue sharing thoughtful, grounded narratives that go beyond headlines. Until next time, stay curious, stay observant, and keep watching wisely with Star Watch Now.